right. Last week we were talking about just things to do to build your business, and like what you need to be doing when you get started. This week well, hello, come on in. I like your print. If you want to sit over here, you good? Perfect timing. Good morning. We just got started. So last week we kind of talked about the things that you need to do as an agent when you're emerging, just like what are the top 5 things. And I kind of like going with the top 5 because that's about manageable. This week we're going to talk about ways to attract buyer clients because our interest rates just dropped a little bit. We still have people that did not find what they wanted over the summer and are still looking. The weather is really nice. We haven't had winter start yet. It's still, so all of these things, like buyers are still in the market actively looking. So it might be easier to find a buyer right now. So I kind of wanted to focus on how we could grab some buyers this week. Honestly, we kind of start every single week talking a little bit about mindset and how you've kind of just, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You've got to be consistent. You've got to keep showing up for yourself. You might be the worst boss you ever worked for when you're building your business. We talk about all of that stuff because when you work for someone else, mindset is something that happens once you're at work. You've got to be there at 8 p.m. or else you're not going to get paid. So you get to work. And then maybe you check in with yourself and see, well, where's my mindset today? Do I feel productive? Do I feel energetic? Do I feel kind of down in the dumps? Now you're thinking about mindset. Well, when you work for yourself, your mindset is what gets you to work. It is not a secondary thing. It is a primary thing. So starting your day with the appropriate mindset is incredibly important. Because as you wean yourself from working for someone else, and again, nobody wants the bossy big sister, but at the same time, when she's not there, you do miss her from time to time. So sometimes that transition from, hey Kathy, from being a work for yourself person to a working with everyone else person is, how do I rebuild it? If you want to come sit over here. Okay. If you sit here, you won't be in the camera, I promise. I promise.
I'm good here.
Okay. All right, I'll include you too. Today we're going to be talking about how to attract buyer clients. And the reason we're talking about that is our slip in interest rates are keeping buyers going. The nice weather, it's temperate, it's not horrible, it's keeping buyers going. We know that a lot of our markets are still not fully balanced, meaning buyers don't have enough inventory to be picky. They haven't found what they wanted yet. Mindset. These opportunities it sounds like when I talk about, oh, I got a referral. And to you, it might sound like, oh, I just fell into Kelly's lap. How do I my lap's right here. Nothing is falling into my lap. I do want to kind of, it sounds like it happened very quickly and very fast and it just fell into my lap. And I want to make sure that you realize that the thing that fell into my lap might have been in my database for 2 years that I've consistently been working at. And sometimes too, you have those moments where you're like, really? Your own mindset will slip. So I do want to remind you that you have got to get out there, create the opportunity. And that happens just by showing up, asking for them, looking for them. And you want to be consistent, because that's the people are like, oh my gosh, I want to lead because this is my business. I want to lead. Well, leads were prospects at one point. A lead is going to get you paid maybe some more right now business, but a prospect growing with you is always going to be filling your pipeline and always giving you new opportunities. So don't be so busy looking for right now immediate business that you miss the people on the sidelines going, how do I get into the pool? I want to swim too. How do I do that? So you want to be consistent. You want to follow up. You want to be checking in, adding them in. You want to be that safe person. We talked last week. People do business with who they like, know, and trust. That comes from getting to know you and your authentic self. That comes from you showing up consistently in a way that they recognize. So I kind of know the answers to some of these, but just in a minute or two, what is the one challenge you are facing in finding buyers?
Not knowing enough people.
Not knowing enough people. Okay.
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay. Wow, that's an easy one. Let's answer that question. All right. We are heading into a slowing down market. And not because buyers don't want to buy anymore, but life is just going to start happening. High schoolers have football games. Thanksgiving is coming. The holidays will be here. So how am I going to be finding buyers? Well, where are buyers? Let's find them. Maybe I'm going to, so we want a right now buyer? Maybe I'm in Facebook groups of those for sale by owner homes. And I can see the 47 people that all commented on this for sale by owner listing in Facebook. How much is it? What is it? I can message all of those people. I can send them my business card in a text. I could even send them a quick video. Hey, I'm Kelly. I'm a local real estate professional, and I saw that you had an interest in a property in Green, Ohio. I actually work that market. I'd love to share you a couple of other properties. So you could respond to those 47 people that are raising their hands. They are right now-ish. Now, we don't know if they're pre-qualified. We don't really know if they like it to buy it or, were they just dabbling? But there's 47 people that, because it's social media and that culture right there, they didn't know the person they're reaching out to. So it's okay for you to also reach out to them inside that arena, perhaps. So that is a good way to find buyers. On my dining room table right now are 1,000+ slap bracelets that are going to have a cute little sticker on the underside about how I'm spooky good at what I do, because I have an opportunity to take part in a family-friendly trick-or-treat event in downtown Ken. And they said, we tell all of our businesses 1,000 people. And when so I was like, okay, what would that look like? I don't want it to be candy, just because one, that's me. And two, how do I get my name out there? Now, do I think that I'm going to find a right now buyer? Maybe. If I hand out 1,000 slap bracelets, maybe one person is going to be like, oh my gosh, let's talk. Maybe. But 1,000 people are going to get a really fun kids trick-or-treat slap bracelet that I am actually putting my marketing on the backside. The bracelets for the kids, they're not buying. They are not great buyers. The bracelets for them. The sticker on the underside is for the parent that picks that thing up 10 times in the back of the minivan over the next 3 months. It's for the same person that if I would have directly marketed to their child, it might have felt weird. But this is something fun. I saw her downtown. Okay. That is a great way to find buyers. Now again, maybe it's a for now buyer. More than likely it's down the road. But for me, it seemed like a good opportunity. Keller Williams, we do trunk or treat typically here. And sometimes, if you're a team, it makes more sense. But there's no reason that the 3 of you couldn't get together and do trunk or treat. Or that you do, and you do trunk or treat here. Here's an event that's already happening, And I'm just gonna put it on my Facebook page. Buying candy for trunk or treat, decorating my car for trunk or treat. Come find me at trunk or treat. You know, here's social media. Here's a quick way to get it out to everyone. If you have a lender, a vendor, ask them, be like, hey, I have the opportunity to do trunk or treat at my brokerage, and I'm a newer agent. Do you want to do it with me? Let's tag team. Let's split the cost and tag team and do this event. So now you've got a way to find some buyers that way. So thinking about, so that opportunity kind of, you know, the opportunity for downtown Kent didn't come directly to me because I don't have a storefront in downtown Kent. But I saw it happen last year and I didn't want to miss it. And I am a member of Main Street Kent as a business owner. So I'm going to figure out how to do that this year. I didn't do it last year and I wanted to. So this year I'm going to do it. And this is why business plans are important, because we do think a lot about the next 3 months, but looking at your next 4 quarters gives you the ability to kind of place things there to come back to. So I remembered I wanted to do this and I did all the things. So I joined Main Street Kent as a business. I'm already there, so you probably don't want to join Main Street Kent. But is there a Chamber of Commerce or a community building group that you could join in your area? First, look to see how many other realtors are living there. Because if it's you and 25 more, perhaps you go someplace else. That maybe doesn't make sense. Maybe you volunteer and you actually show up as a person and kind of see what happens. Because maybe those 25 agents are just once a year, they write a check and they don't actually show up for anything. But those are great ways to start to find some buyers.
You said community group, and what was the other word? The first thing you said? It was community group and
Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, so like those are, they have typically have a membership fee, but they have a directory. So at least, because there are lots of businesses that are like, hey, I'm in the chamber and I need an accountant. I'm going to go to the chamber first and I'm going to look to see what other accountants are affiliated with the chamber. So it's kind of like a pay to play a little bit, but it is a way to get your name out there in a different way. And it's a smaller amount of money with potentially a bigger impact. I would recommend, if you're going to spend $100, $150, whatever that opt-in is, don't just let your money show up. You show up, go to the luncheon, because again, there is a kind of a nepotistic feel. They want to refer from within their community. Now, along that line, BNIs are groups where there's one contractor and one inspector and one electrician and one realtor, and they at a high level refer to members. Those are a little harder to find, and for some people, harder to navigate. Depending on how that little group is set up, you might have to meet weekly. Sometimes it's monthly, but that's another space to go. And what it's giving you the opportunity to do is to talk to other people. And if you're getting into some of these clubs and these organizations, again, sometimes they're a little more invested in keeping it inside, and so they want to refer inside. So it's not screaming into a big cave, it's screaming into a smaller cave. All right, so sphere of influence in the database. Yes, I'm going to talk about it again because it's that big of a deal. Kaden and I, we were kind of doing some touching of the database, and I showed him like what I needed to do. I was like, hey, I've got a closing. I need to stop smart plans. I need to do these things. so that my database feels like I'm in it all the time and managing it. So you want to get there. The people that are in there, they already know you, they like you, they trust you. So they already want to work with you. Everyone that's been in this room, we've all done launch. So we're kind of starting to feel a lot more familiar with command. If you ever want to do a mini boot camp on YouTube, Marty Miller does a 66-day challenge around command, and he typically does it once a year. So there's, 5 to 15 minute videos, and it's just step by step by step by step. So if you have any questions, you can slowly build out using those videos. But the reason you want to do all of this is they're in here. If you know them, you know that they just closed on a house and they are no longer looking to buy at this time. So stop the buyer smart plan that you had them set up on. Then they're going to be like, she does still know, like, and trust me. And I feel the same way about here. So use that database as a living, breathing organism to touch your friends, your family, your coworkers. And you want to be using that. Whenever you are, who can I be talking to and what do I do? Like, Kaden watched me tag somebody. Main Street Ken, Harry Potter, outdoor, golfer. And I have these different tags because I will send the Ohio Trails notification, that comes out. They usually redo those maps for the local areas once or twice a year. So I'm going to send those to them, and it's a different way. So remember, they are more than just a transaction. Once you're done with them in a transaction, change it up so that you're still communicating with them like they're still valuable people. Because for some people, you become their best friend during the transaction, and they're not prepared for the fact did she break up with me? Why are we not talking as much anymore? Well, we were talking a lot about buying, but now I want to talk to you about being a homeowner. So change their tags and remember to reach out to them in a month and ask them if they have done something. Keep checking back in with them, because if you are warm and loving and kind to them, they're going to feel your absence. The warm, loving that continues after the transaction is what makes them say, can you believe this? I closed 6 months ago. And Kelly seriously just sent me another newsletter reminding me about those darn trees that we talked about the whole time I bought. Then they're going to refer you. You have to stay top of mind to them. And use social media also for that. Go in. If they just closed, they're going to post some pictures. Make sure you're following them so that you get to talk inside the communication about what you just did. Show everybody else too how you are friendly, kind, and out there to work with them. So database, are we good with that? Anybody have any specific questions about that right now? And keep in mind, when I talked about those tags, you can create any tag you want. I do create, because if they keep talking about their dog every single time, they deserve a tag that says they are a dog parent. And they deserve, in the 36 touches I do a year, they deserve a Happy National Dog Day. That's a national holiday. That's like Parent Day for these people. So, do those things. All right. Second way to find buyers, it's an open house. Where are the buyers? They're going to an open house. Why are they doing that? Because they don't understand about representation, and they heard some things changed. So their auntie told them to just go to an open house. You don't have an agent, but that's no big deal. You can still go to an open house. And they're correct. They are. I just closed on a dual agent transaction where the buyer came to my open house and was not represented. That is the quickest, most straightforward way to get your hands, to get into the room and to get into conversation with a buyer is an open house. Now, I realize from where you're sitting, that might be a little bit harder, it feels like right this minute. I don't know as many agents to ask to do open houses. I currently don't have an active listing that I can do my own open house. So we want to get you in face-to-face conversation with buyers. So ways to find open houses inside our KW. You can put it out there. Hey, it's Tuesday. I have an open time slot on Saturday and Sunday. Who needs an open house? When we do Paint the Town Red and we talk about upcoming listings, hey Maria, I know you've got a listing coming up. I'd love to do an open house for you.
I haven't had that in Facebook for 2 weeks now, because I created my own, for a buyer.
Nice.
I'm not sure why it's not. Have you noticed that? Hasn't been in there for a couple weeks.
I wonder that, not sure
Yeah.
why, what that, but it's good that you know that, because that's the other thing. Remember, an entrepreneur, they're gonna be like, I've got this great idea, I'm gonna do this art, I'm gonna do this ad, I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm an E, so I'm gonna forget about it, and I'm gonna try it once and say it didn't work and never do it again. Being purposeful means that we remember to check the ad. Is it still playing? How many hits did it get? How many people saw it? When are they looking at it? Okay, nighttime is when everybody's looking at this. Maybe I need to be active on Facebook at nighttime. If everyone is clickbaiting at 10 p.m., maybe before I go to bed, I'm like out there active and doing some stuff so that they can see my action too. So asking the other agents, hey, you've got a listing coming up. I'd love to do an open house. You can do an open house for anybody. I wouldn't recommend going to lesser brokerages. That's just me. But, keep in mind, we've got Lakewood, we've got Pepper Pike. If you are looking to get buyers, you could pay for leads, or you could drive yourself to Lakewood to do an open house. Yes, both of them are an expense, but at least if you're at an open house, you get to practice your skills, you get to get your face out there, and you have a fighting chance of talking to a couple of people, and you get to really build that. Obviously, if we're at the open house and we're there to meet buyers, let's be capturing their information. Let's have a sign-up sheet, a raffle that we're doing. Let's have an electronic iPad sign-in. We need to have some way to grab these people's contact information so that we can take this prospect, turn it into a lead, turn it into a satisfied client. And
Could you give us an example of a raffle in an open house?
sure. Okay. Things that I have raffled off. All right. From the, oh crap, I'm doing an open house and I don't have anything to raffle off. Gift card on my way from a local business on my way to the open house. Now, I try to not live in the last minute. So typically, I've planned themed accordingly. If my house is a condo, single-story living, I kind of already know some people that I'm going to see. I kind of know what my buyers look like. We're going to have some single people potentially that don't want to take on full-on exterior maintenance. It's a single story and it's a condo. There's a really great chance that I'm going to have some retirement age people. Okay. Well, they don't want tickets to Cedar Point. So a lot of the time I just have a plant. I have a plant, it's got a little wiry thing that I made in the basement, and it's got a little gift card in it for Flourish, the local plant shop in Kent, because that's my brand, I support local. It could just be a little plant. You could just gather everything and have a gift bag that is empty. This is also a, hey, I forgot about it till the last minute. gift bag that's empty. It's right there. It's a surprise. It's a surprise. So what I'm trying to get at is, yes, oftentimes we are afraid to fail fast and fail forward. We're figuring all of this out and we want it to be perfect. And Kathy, I see you. And I know, because you and I are a lot alike in that. We're like, I want it to be 110% perfect, and then I'm going to do it. And sometimes it has to be 95% perfect, and I just need to flipping do it. So I am sharing the behind the scenes that sometimes it's just too crazy and chaotic, but I don't cancel the open house because I forgot a raffle present. I'm at least going to still do it because darn it, I said I was going to get more buyers, and I'm here to get more buyers. What's more important is me getting the buyers, not what's in the bag. And by the way, the surprise bag worked, and what it ended up having in it was a Starbucks gift card. But again, like, so you could do that. I have done themed present around a themed open house. You know, I had a community that had a pool and a lot of kids and all those things. And it was bubbles and pool toys and all of this. I was like, because when you move here, you're gonna want this. You know, so themed. So again, you know, you can be a little bit creative, and I love to do this kind of stuff. Like, my brain just does this in the background. So if you are ever like, hey, Kelly, I've got an open house and I don't want to be like opening up a box of Dunkin', what do you suggest? And I will definitely brainstorm with you and help come up with ways, you know, to do that. I actually, one of my new favorites is what I'm calling a buyer breakfast. And I'm doing that early in the morning. And we talked, when we did our open house training a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how I had done one because breakfast food is wrapped up and it's easy to get them out. But I've done early, like come before work. I'll be here for an open house if you would like, for the unrepresented, you know, and doing it very early, because then too, you've got some wrapped up power bars, juice, things like that, small, ready to go. They really are here for just a quick little visit. But buyer breakfast is a nice theme to work around. But then, all right, so we got them. We had this great open house. I got these 5 names, did a raffle, got my names. Now what? Well, you got to put them in a command. You got to work with it. This piece of paper doesn't do anything if it stays on this piece of paper. So follow up. Follow up. You have their name, you have their number, you have their email. Get to them within 24 hours. They may have gone to 3 other open houses. So you don't want to lose this unrepresented buyer to one of those other open house agents. You can also, by the way, have your business card and give it to them at the open house and say, hey, I know it's a Saturday and there's some other open houses around. I'd love to talk more about what it would look like to be firmly committed to working with me. But when you go to these other open houses, the agents are going to be asking for your name and number. You can just tell them you are in talks with an agent if you would like. So I'm telling them what to expect, and I solved the problem, and I just got between them and the next agent getting their information. Yeah, we're still going to talk about it, but they've got my card. They could have picked it up off the street. The other agent doesn't know. But they've got my card now, and they have a way to kind of buffer against others. So you're going to follow up with them. You're going to call, you're going to text, you're going to do something, you're going to put them in the command, you're going to do the things. And then you're going to continue to follow up with them. Remember, E is I got their name and their number. P, purposeful, is following up more than once. And if we know we met them on a Saturday and we've talked to them and we know that they don't have an agent, they kind of are using open houses to find somebody, then get with them on Thursday or Friday and be like, hey, coming up on another weekend, I know that you like to go to open houses. Here's an open house. I'll be at this one if you want to stop by and say hi. Here's another open house for another thing. If you'd like, I could register you. Hey, Rhea, I have a customer named Kathy that is going to be stopping by your open house today. You know, so I reached out to the other agent, you know, and let her know. And then so now Kathy's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know to do this. Maybe I do need an agent. Look at all the stress and trouble she's saving me. All right. And then obviously sellers might show up at an open house. So just don't assume they're buyers. And if you get a seller, even better. All right. Social media and content marketing. Point 3 is another way to get buyers. I hear a lot of people say that is a lever they want to pull. Social media. Okay. But what does that really look like? So they're like, yeah, I want to do social media. And that means I doom scroll for 45 minutes and share something about real estate. So you want to be a little bit more intentional. Now, people are already there. You don't have to find them. You have to be consistent enough that you keep showing up in their feed. You know, so pick what your brand looks like, and every once in a while, edit it and audit yourself. If you're on Instagram, you can see all of the covers for all of the posts you've done. Now, obviously, stories disappear, but these are all the posts I've gotten. And if you look at mine, it's outfit, real estate, funky fixture, social media, social engagement in the community, and then pushing local businesses. You know? So, yes, that still is consistently what I want to be showing. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I got a little too heavy into this. I want to make sure, you know what, I haven't done this for a second. So don't just throw it up there. Go back, audit it, pay attention, balance it out. And people social media is wonderful, but people still want to know you. So Kathy Realtor is an amazing cook. Caden Realtor is a sports guy. Rhea Realtor is a loving sister, auntie, mother, friend. Here she is with her full world of people. So we want to know more about you. Social media gives you a great place to do it. But that's very very entrepreneur. How do we make it purposeful? Well, let's post some marketing insights. That's a great way to remind them you're a realtor without reminding them you're a realtor. Buyer tips. Maybe you have a buyer one page that's a little infographic of all the steps of a transaction. You can put that on there. And then with a little message that says, message me, whatever the word you like is, message me this and I'll send you it. You're offering them something inside an arena where they found you. They love, okay, I will tell you. Apparently, I am not the only person that likes glass doorknobs, funky fixtures, and vintage wallpaper. Because when I post those, the interactions that happen are like 75% complete random stranger and 25% my actual followers. I love that stuff. I legitimately love that stuff. My clients will be like, let's go look at this house. Have you seen the wallpaper? You know? Or they're like, oh, Kelly, did you see this? Come into the closet. Look at this piece of wallpaper still left. So again, it's things that I do, but they love that behind the scenes. Like Home and Garden TV is programming about people's desire to understand, explore, peep behind the scenes of real estate. That's what it is. Give them the opportunity right there on your own social media account. Short little videos, things like that. So actually, if you say, I'm going to use social media and content marketing to find buyers, actually do it that way. Be just as intentional. We are always working on growing from being an entrepreneur to being purposeful. Sharing some things. Now, use so, come up with some hashtags. Hashtag funky fixtures is definitely one of mine. So like have some hashtags and use those with some intentionality, because sometimes that is how someone might find you in a different way. Because the little sticker that I talked about, the marketing sticker, has my name, has my number, and has hashtag Kelly, because I just did a little media checkup to see what happens when I pull up hashtag Realtor Kelly. I like what's out there, and it's some real estate, obviously with the name Realtor Kelly, but it's also a lot of fun things that she's doing. Okay, this makes sense. I'm going to use this and have people follow that way. All right, number 4, my favorite, community and networking events. Now, we talk about getting in the room with other people, practicing walking the walk and talking the talk. What happens with these networking events and these community events are, you have a chance to grow that relationship outside of business, outside of sales type conversations. And don't forget that part of our strength is being able to connect buyers and sellers with their next new home. But another of our strengths is being able to talk with knowledge and experience about the real estate market. That is a great thing to talk about. But another thing that we do to strengthen our business and our value is have other relationships. So me giving Flourish gift card reminds that business, because I'm in there and I'm with the business owner. I'm like, oh, I'm getting a gift card. I have an open house today. I want to use you as one of my prizes. 1, they now know I'm a realtor, and they can tell that I value local business because here I am buying a plant. But they may say, well, here, $5 off. They may remember that, and 3 months later, when their business is slow, reach out and say, hey, I'm curious, you bought a plant for an open house. Like, could we maybe partner together? Like, what would it look like if I gave you a discount on the reason I can talk this is because this is how I pitched it to the business. I did the reverse. And I went to the business and I said, hey, listen, people buy windows, we put plants in front of them, we love this. If I were to buy closing gift plants from you, could you maybe give me a slight discount, and in exchange, we've got a bounce back coupon. Stop and meet the adopted parents this plant came from, and here's a 10% off your companion plant. And they were like, oh my gosh. So because they're involved in the marketing, they're like, oh my God, you're looking to buy? Let me tell you about Kelly. She is amazing. And do you know that she gives all of her clients a plant from my store? So now you're collaborating with somebody else, and they're helping you market and helping you find your buyer. Now, we've got business cards and digital, because you're really good with that. So we've got this way for them to share. Have them in your pocket. That's the quickest way to get rid of business cards, is to have them in your pocket and go to a social event, a networking event. Now, we talked about joining a chamber of commerce or, a downtown community. Well, they have events all the time. So you have an opportunity to network with those people and, again, get their referrals also. If you're in a smaller group where you're the only realtor that they know of, you refer, they refer. So again, those community relationships can really help you find new buyers, because everyone has someone that will transact in the next year in their life. And having a way of trying to have other people speak your story and tell your, sing your values is great. Like I said, so we talked about all the young professionals, you know, and pick a niche and kind of go with it. You know, look at your PTA, look at your sports teams, you know, look at your, I have a rich Italian heritage, and I'm going to lean in on that because I know that Italians like to work with Italians, you know, or whatever your niche is, like really spend some time on that so that when you show up at these social events, you're showing up as that person. And treat these community engagements and these networking experiences, treat them like you're going on a buyer consult or a listing agreement. Show up as a professional the way you show up in your regular business. Because if you're like a disaster train at the social event, but you normally have it all together, well, you showed up like this, but that isn't a true representation of who you really are. So be very intentional about how you show up because you are showing up with other professionals. All right, number 5, online lead sources and buyer tools. So we kind of touched on that a little bit. To go deeper, you can buy leads. You 100% can buy leads. If you're choosing to do that for your business, here are some tips to consider. When you buy leads, you want to know, like, how does that lead come to the lead source? How are these going to be ready, willing, and able buyers? Are these pre-qualified buyers? Or are they just somebody that tapped a link on Zillow? So ask about that because you're looking to get buyers, but you really are wanting some at-now business oftentimes when you're working with buying leads. You're hoping to kind of like CPR and get things started. So that's oftentimes why people are buying them and then they're frustrated with it. I bought them for 2 months and nothing happened. So when you're look at the leads that you're buying. I know they're starting to do the reverse where they will refer you, give you a lead, you work it, you only pay the referral fee back once they close. Teams, typically, that is part of their value proposition, is by providing leads. But realize when you buy a lead, it's a complete stranger. And that's okay. You can go, you are good at what you do. You have practiced all of these skills. You can convert them. You can make them thrilled to be doing business with you. You're going to have to hurry up and get to know them and all of that. And if you really want to do all of that, because even if you paid for it, wouldn't it be amazing if the lead that you paid for became a referral partner for you? You bothered to treat them as more than just a paid lead. You actually got deep and dirty with them, figured things out. You know they're a dog mom, you know they're a nature trail lover, and you are continuing that relationship outside. That's the best way to get your return on investment, because not only did you use that lead to get a transaction, you made them family. Now you're using them for resources.
How do you know what's legit? Because I'm getting them on my computer and I'm like, who are these people? So, because I usually like delete because I'm like, I don't know where they're even getting my name or where they're coming from. And
so it is a hard thing when you are a newer agent, because you're like, okay, wait a minute, like this feels a little too easy. What's going on? So a way to kind of go one step further is to respond back to that message. Sometimes when you go in, like you know, just be like, I'm so sorry, I don't have you saved in my phone. I'm curious, what address are you interested in? Or, you know, how did you find my information? Now, listen to what they tell you, because that may be an opportunity source that you didn't realize was potentially generating leads. So how do I, underline, highlight, exclamation point this? If you found me, I want 15 more people to find me. I will say this. Unless you have been communicating with someone through WhatsApp, be cautious of the WhatsApp people. They can find you also, and that's fine. That's just my personal thing. But asking them, Because here's the 50-50. If they're a real thing, I don't want to just ignore them. But at the same time, I need to have my BS filter on so that I'm not wasting my time, my energy, resources. Ask a question or two and see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe. Keeping in mind though that when you have a listing, your name is tied to the listing so people can find you that way.
Yeah.
I have not only the people that come to the open house, but the people that have reached out. Now, typically, those are kind of wrapped into an intro email from the source. For example, like I have like a text in my phone. You received a new lead on your listing, and it's got their info, homes.com. And when you click the link, it does, and yes, my listing is on homes.com, and they have a tap for more info, and that's what that person did. And because I'm the listing agent, homes.com sends them directly to me. So some of them are legitimate, but just proceed with caution either way. And here's the thing, it's just like, don't wire funds, you don't know a prince, don't do the same. Be cautious about how you advance in these blind lead text calls. There's oftentimes not people on the other side and things like that. So do proceed with caution. Definitely run them through forewarn. I mean, I received dead calls. Like I have nothing, I have no other information from them, no other texts, nothing in there. And I do receive those, and I play that game. And then typically we'll get very quickly to I saw your listing. That's how I found you. My gosh, my name is on the sign.
Right.
It does make sense. Someone could have driven by.
Yeah.
But let's just save our time, energy, and money. And then as you're having that conversation, you're starting to pre-qualify them.
Right.
Are you pre-approved? Do you have a savings? What's your credit score? What are you looking to buy? When are you looking to buy? So you start that way. Did that answer it a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
And when you are at a networking event, if you haven't done one, so some of you have gone to different trainings and you're in the room with other agents, which is a lovely and dynamic energy. But when you are at a networking event, there are people that do this at a high level. And I realized when I went to my first or second one, someone needs to create a checklist of you're going to a networking event. This is what you need. Have cards readily available. Don't drag your purse, your backpack, and all your stuff. You are not really there to go a mile deep with one person. You are there to be ground cover. I got to get and talk to as many people as possible. Now, obviously, if the second I introduce myself as, hi, I'm Kelly, I transact in the area, I work with buyers, sellers, and investors. What do you do? Where do you live? Have a short, like the shortest of elevator pitches, because again, they're looking to network also. So we've got two people that are looking to swim by each other, throw some cards around, and gather some info. All right? Then you get home, you got this pocket full of business cards, and hopefully it says what they do, so you know that this is a vendor. A really nice way to treat that, not with as much energy as you follow up with your open house, but with a similar level of intent. Kathy, I met you last night at the Chamber of Commerce event. I've got your business card. I remember you saying you were a lender. Can we set up a quick 15-minute phone call? I kind of want to see like how your business could help my clients and how I maybe could help people in your world. Still follow up with them all, because it gets even dicier when two people have the same intent, because they may not remember to reach out to you, but at least if you reach out to them, now Kathy's like, darn it, that's what I should have done. I admire the business this woman has because she remembered to reach out to me from a pocket full of business cards. I like her. She made an impression. I'm going to refer her to other people. I want to do business with her. All right. But back to these like online sources and things like that. Use social media. to your advantage, but make sure that you're doing it in a way that does make sense. Like I said, doom scrolling isn't going to get you anywhere. Yes, you were on for 45 minutes, but you didn't really find anything. Have content ready to go. Have things ready to go. Have buyer tools ready to share, because you never know when they may reach out. Like I said, if I wasn't fully prepared to have a buyer transition conversation and he found me and called me and literally served himself up on my door, I need to be ready to respond in kind. And having this buyer tool, I can just email it, share it right away. We've got something to talk about. And, keeping it all in one space makes it very easy for you to be sending that out, if you do get someone from Zillow. Now, again, you can reach out to Zillow and you can ask to become a preferred agent, and you buy and you pay monthly. And typically you start off, you may not even be able to get a zip code. That is an area you want to work in because another agent has that. You might start out getting $40,000 as is homes. That's what it might look like because they're serving the higher leads to their higher paid agents or their longer term agents. And again, it's something that does make sense, but at a time when you are working to get money to come in, I advise you to be cautious of where you're sending your money out, because sometimes these are for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Like you might find yourself in a contract that might not make sense. So be cautious about what that looks like if you actually start buying a lead. And maybe be very, very, very intentional at first with yourself about, I'm going to try all of these things to find a lead. And you and I can talk about your accountability, because sometimes we are not the best at being accountable and a boss to ourselves. But, consider that. Now, again, if you want to just buy leads, I know people that is how their businesses are. But when the market gets hard, there are more people that are baby birding. They have their mouth open. They're waiting to be fed. It's getting hard. Winter is coming. There may be less transactions in the next 3 months, perhaps. And everybody's thinking about that. So now everybody's buying leads. So one really good lead can't go to 15 people. So keep your skills sharpened on the ways for you to do this without paying. Because when you get into competitive areas, you and everyone else are now fighting for the $500,000 Shaker Heights lead. And there's going to be a whole bunch of $50,000 Cleveland Heights leads too. And they do need work, and they are buyers, and they are people, and they know people, and you can work every single thing. But I advise you to just be intentional about how you spend your time and your money when it comes to buying leads. So we talked about 5 different things, and we'll talk next week on other things. But from what we talked about today, could you pick 2 strategies, 1 strategy to focus on? Did everybody find something that could be helpful? Mm-hmm. All right, what are you going to focus on, Rhea?
Doing more open houses.
Okay.
Even though, I'm gonna try to fit them in.
Yeah. Now, so again, here's a fun thing. The buyer breakfast came out of the sheer fact that I had no time in traditional open house hours to do it. So that's where it came from. So, and if you need like a little more help kind of problem solving what that would look like, oftentimes, people are like Saturday, Sunday. There's Friday. You could do lunch and look. I do like alliteration. You could do lunch and look. Hey, buyers, I'm doing a lunchtime open house. Tell your boss you're going to be gone 15 extra minutes and come see me over at 123 Main Street. So that could be maybe a different way to get an open house. When you are at the open house, get video. Get a video tour. Get video of each room. Then you've got B-roll things that you can also use and say, I'm doing a virtual open house. It's a different way, and you can take it to Facebook. Virtual open house.
Do you have to get your seller's permission to do that?
I typically do. I believe that technically that's the marketing that you sign off on. In my opinion, that's how I see it.
Okay.
But I underline, what does it look like for me to market your property?
Okay.
So I've had the conversation. These are the different levers that I will pull to market your property. And if you are marketing your property, you have a listing agreement that said you were allowed to market the property.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed recently, I actually just last week, because I have done a virtual tour for out-of-town buyer, and I did realize it's like when you go to do it in showing time to book it, that's a selection, like virtual tour,
yeah.
so like you have to get the seller's permission. That's why I'm asking.
So that's weird that you said that, because just this week, one of the properties that I went to schedule at, and it was something that I toggled, because when I stepped back out of it, I just was like, no, I'm just gonna do a showing, and then it disappeared.
Okay.
But I have seen that pop up from time to time. I think that
Yeah, I was like, oh.
well, but see, so that to me would be like, okay, I would still follow through. I would call the agent. I'd be like, hey, listing agent, I'm trying to schedule this, and it's telling me that I have to have seller permission to do a virtual tour. I just needed to do a video tour for my out-of-state client. This is for me and my client. I'm not marketing your client's property, through emails, preferably, so you've got all this tracked down. But
I just thought it was interesting, because I just noticed, I was like, oh.
Oh, didn't know we could do that.
And I actually went to an open house for this new buyer that I have, and she's like, I said, oh, can I take a couple pictures? She's like, oh, take a video, whatever you want. And it was like literally the next day, I was trying to schedule something else, and I was like, oh, was that okay? She just told me to do.
So usually, so I talk about, hey, I'm gonna market your property and this is what it's gonna look like. And so we've already had that conversation, and they're saying yes, they're allowing you to do picture and video. So I can see why they would want to control it, like from a seller perspective.
Right.
I could be like, listen, I know what your videos are. You're showing windows and stuff. So again, that's why I have so many. So that if this ever came up, I could say, Kathy, I really appreciate you wanting to do a video tour for your client. The seller doesn't feel comfortable with it, but I have video. I have room video. I have full tour video. Allow me to share that with you. Would that be helpful? Again, that's me planning for the one time a seller's like, no video.
Right.
But at least if you've got some B-roll, you've got it for marketing, and you've got it also for your own social media. Okay. So open houses. What's a skill?
More social media and getting more involved with people, because I don't know everybody. And
there we go.
Yeah,
That's
there's both sides to it too, so I can go to each team.
I like that. And honestly, again, our phones work so well for us. Like if you start saving team members, their social media is going to find you too, which gives you a great
I've got
way.
a lot of that on social media, so
good.
I just need to go through and actually
Do something
I
with
was
it.
going to talk to them in person, and then maybe just shoot them some films.
Now, so again, that's really more purposeful. Sometimes people are like, yep, like. Don't know, you don't know, you don't know. Like. So again, maybe having that little bit of a conversation. Hey, you keep popping up. My God, I guess I'm just going to have to like you finally. That. Kathy, what is a strategy maybe that's kind of rang for you?
The community networking event, because I'm already in my mind, I know there's stuff going on in Stowe, like Halloween stuff especially. So I'm gonna quickly try to see what's going on, if I can tag into that.
So one area when I was eating all over the place was I spent a lot of time looking into bulldog bags because for me that made sense. Education related, small humans, quick and dirty, you know, volunteer 2 hours once a week.
Donate some food.
Yeah. So maybe,
They're
I'm
starting
not
high
it-
school all the time.
you know, like, yeah, so maybe looking at bulldog bags. Here's another thing, use your real estate email for all the things you sign up on. So when the 40 people get the email, for example, from Bulldog Bags, they see Kathy at KW as an email. But, you know, maybe that's a space to go because you can meet some people, kind of network that way. That might be a great thing, but you're right. With the holidays coming up,
Yeah.
this is I spend a little more than my quarterly allotment for marketing and things like that. I spend more of it the last part of the year because of the things that I do. Now it took time and I built on this, but for Leadership Portage County that I'm on the board for, I sponsor our annual party every year. So at this point, you know, now again, I'm the only realtor that is in the network. I was really intentional about where I chose to place my money. Sitting on the board, I value it. I've met a lot of really great people. So kind of, you know, think about where, because your time is money. So that's why I liked Bulldog Bags. I was like, quick, little bit on a Tuesday when nothing else is going on.
Right.
But I'm going to meet other people in the area. And then you also think, who's volunteering? Well, a lot of the time in our society, it's the retirement age people because they have the time to be there. And might they not need to eventually move into single story living or buy an investment property for the family trust or know somebody that does? And they see me showing up in the community and the same thing that they're doing, so we know they value it. Like there's so much, my brain never shuts down. There is so much opportunity in almost any single event. You know, you just kind of have to get really accustomed to looking for it. And then, like I said, E to P. You want to be purposeful. If you went to all the effort of finding this really great opportunity, give it time to work. I didn't wasn't like the day after Jingle Mingle, I opened up my phone, I was like, oh my God, 5 new leads. Wasn't like that. It was 3 months later. It was a year later. It was 3 years later. So that's why I was working at more than just that too. All right, the buyers are out there. You just have to be showing up. And remember, like Kate and I joked about this, there are people that are in both of our databases. Like Kate and I potentially could be talking to, at any given time, the same person. It's just who has talked to them longer in a way that is valuable to them, a contribution. It's not personal, but it's about showing up. So that's what you do. If you had to put a measurable, do you think that you could get an open house done this weekend? One extra one? Do you think that's a possibility? It's only Wednesday. You have a chance.
No, yeah, I was thinking about reaching out to someone I did an open house for previously, but to see if he had anything.
All right. This is just a tactic you may want to consider. We know that houses are sitting, if they don't go under contract fairly quickly, we might be looking at 30 to 39 days on market, you know, somewhere in there. What would it look like if you went to all of the Keller Williams greater metropolitan listings that have sat on the market for 55 days, 45 days, 35 days? Because the buyers are kind of forgotten about them. The listing agent hasn't forgotten about them, but they're kind of just like, well, I'm just killing time waiting for a price reduction. Or another one has come up and this one's kind of gotten pushed down a little bit. reaching out to those people and resuscitating that listing, you know, might be a place. Because again, new this week, I'm probably doing my own. I'm going to be honest. The next couple of months, I will probably be doing my own open house so that I have the benefit of gathering any of those leads. Now I may end up getting my rear handed to me and I may need somebody to cover one, but as we head into a slower market, you know, some agents might hold on to their listing a little bit because they're insulating their business. So that doesn't mean you quit. That just means you have to talk to some more people. And that's like, just because you made 5 calls today and you didn't find a buyer doesn't mean no one is buying. It just means you didn't call enough people to find your buyer. And it's the same thing for anything. All right. Any other questions around this? Okay, you can turn that camera off.